Let me show you how to add the cutest chunky bee to your blanket. Cut about 7-inch pieces of all of your colors. Here's for the wings, for the body, and take your first color, decide where you're going to put it. So you want to have at least a thread between where you're going to stitch this on. So I kind of want to put it up a little bit so that I can maybe see the wing below it because it's going to be white on that white. But have a thread between it and you're going to feed those pieces, those tail ends, right through. And just pull it through a little bit, pulled it through a little too much, and pull it out a little bit. You're going to adjust a lot on this, but take your black now. I usually do the gold first and then the black, and you're going to put this in the same 2 holes. So you could technically do it together if you want, but you're going to put that in the same 2 right here. And then your next 2, you're going to put in the hole in the stitch that's right next to it. So find that stitch that's right next to where you're at and put both of these through here. And I'm just kind of feeding them through. You can, pull it from the back if you want to, but you're going to put it right next to that first hole. And there is going to be a lot of adjusting, but we're going to pull them through the back and make it look like a chubby little bee. So see, I pulled it a little bit too much, so just don't pull it too hard. It will stay fluffed out on your blanket once we get finished with it. So pulling it out to make it look like a chubby little bee. And then we're going to go to the back side and fuse these together before we put the wings on, because otherwise the threads get a little bit confusing. So turn it over, and you can see they're kind of all over the place, but I know that they're going up and down. So match up your threads here, and then we're going to cut them and fuse them with fire. So I cut to where one of the threads is coming across almost to the edge of the blanket. And so I'm going to cut all of them at the same time and then fuse them all together as well. So I'll do the first one, and then I'm going to speed up the other one so that you don't have to sit through my holding them together and everything else. But you want to light both sides and really hold them together. Roll that little piece between your fingers so that it really molds together, because you don't want it to come apart in the wash. I always give a tug test. So always tug test your fusions so that they don't come apart, because they're pretty strong, almost stronger than the yarn if you do it right, but you definitely have to do a tug test. There's some that I've thought were very fused, and I tugged them and they just came apart. So I was like, wow, okay. So always do your tug test. You're gonna adjust and make it look like a bee on the back side too. That's what's cool about this, is it can be a bee on the front and the back. Adjust here, and then we're gonna add the wings. Grab your white yarn and push it in right above your little bee here, and it can look like the bee is you can either do one wing to where it looks like it's flying kind of in front of you, right? Or you can do both wings to make it look like you're looking down on the bee, and both ways look really cute. So push that through. I'm gonna do it to where we're looking down on the bee, and we have 2 wings. So push this one through as well, and just make sure that wherever you put it, you have a yarn piece between your thread. So come to the back, and you're gonna do the same thing that we did to the bee body by fusing the ends together. So I'm gonna speed up this part of the video because you've already kind of seen how to fuse these things and how to adjust them. Always give a pull test, and just adjust your bee to where it looks like you want it. And sometimes you have to adjust where you're putting your threads and your yarn into each hole to make it look right. But ultimately, if you adjust it right, it looks like a chubby little bee.